What happened? Where am I? Am I alive yet?
Hello again. How we doing today out there in the world, huh? While we're talking about this. Today, let's see, we'll go over playoffs are set in the NFL. And the whole seeding process is interesting. We'll go over I think I guess with that algorithm crazy on Twitter now, like stuff related to UFOs again. Series on get into growing up in the 90s, all the people that was figured out and stuff. Again, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to Sharple's World. If you're just joining, we're just starting out, not missing too much of anything. Go back, look at the first few videos, podcasts, whatever the heck you want to call them. Check them out. If not, at least like, subscribe, and let's see what we can do here. Football playoffs happen today. Playoffs are set. I'm down here in Florida, Tampa fan, so hey, it got a little tight there, but Tampa pulled it out, got the win, so they made the playoffs. Which honestly, I mean, I think I'm like most Bucks fans when it comes to this. As much as I want to see Tampa in the playoffs, I could have been all right with them losing and missing it because I'm not a big Todd Boyles fan. Todd Bowles, Bowel, Todd Bowles. I'm not a big Todd Bowles fan. I'm not a fan of his defense. I think his defensive scheming sucks. Just throw everything at the offense and hope that your guys beat the other dude. And hey, that's great 20 and 30 years ago, but you can't do that now. And I know we're going to lose that offensive coordinator to some job, either a head coach in the NFL or in college somewhere, and that stinks because that'll be our second offensive coordinator gone because we lost last year's offensive coordinator. He's now in Carolina with the Panthers. He's their head coach, and I really enjoy this offensive coordinator, and it seems that we're going to be stuck with Bowles for another couple years and his crappy defense. So Tampa made it. You got the Vikings, Lions. Pull up the sheet here. You got Lions, Philadelphia, Tampa, Los Angeles, Minnesota, Washington, and Green Bay. They're all in on the NFC side. On AFC, you got the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans, Chargers, Steelers, Broncos are all in it. I'll be honest, I could see the Steelers getting bounced in the first round. Man, it's like there's only three teams I could see honestly coming out of the AFC, and that's the top three: Kansas City, Buffalo, and the Ravens. I could see the Ravens easily beating these two teams as well, but I honestly think Buffalo will probably come out on top of that. The NFC, I that is a bit of a toss-up. I don't see Green Bay doing it. I don't see Washington doing it. I don't see the Rams doing it. The Eagles depends on which team you get out there. The Vikings, I don't know. Again, I haven't seen enough of them to warrant. The Lions, I mean, they're what the legitimate team to come out of the NFC. And it might sound like a homer on this, but I mean Tampa. Hey, they could easily put up 40-some points on you, or they could struggle and barely put up 20. It just depends what defense you get from them and what offense, basically what team you get from them, especially what defense you get from them. Tampa's that wild card in that NFC that they could be bounced in the first round, or you could see them making the NFC Championship game. It really all depends on what Tampa team shows up. But I still, if I had to put money on it, I'd put it on Detroit and the Bills. But I mean, I could also see the Ravens in there, and I guess I'd be fine with the Bills or Ravens versus Lions Super Bowl. But I mean, we'll see. Still a lot of ball to play. Still a lot of ball. The rest of the teams were eliminated. Good luck. You get the draft to worry about. Figure that out. Some teams are okay with that. Others aren't. Jesus, the Giants. Good job, Giants. Good job. Going for the quarterback this year. Let me know how you think the playoffs will end up. What do you think the Super Bowl will look like? The two teams in it, or who do you think will win it? And hey, Chiefs fans, I don't have anything against you, man, but that has been a really lucky team with a really soft schedule this year, and they could honestly have 6 or 7 losses on this season, and give them credit, or as some people say, the refs give them credit for pulling it out. But it's going to be tough for them in the playoffs, man. I don't know how they'll do it. College, I think, starts up this coming weekend. Final Four: Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State, Notre Dame. I could easily see Ohio State and Notre Dame in the championship game with Ohio State winning it. I don't think Notre Dame's that strong. I think they're a good team. I don't think that they're a championship level team. Of course, they could turn it on, and I could be completely wrong, but to me, it seems like Ohio State's peaking at the right time. Texas is too up and down for me to believe in. Penn State, again, they're a good team, but I don't see a championship team from them. But this is what you get in the playoffs now. You're going to get teams that probably wouldn't have normally made a championship game. They're going to be in contention for it, and they might not be that good. But this is what we asked for. This is what we got. So here it is. I mean, it's just like the Giants team. What was that, like 10, 15 years ago that beat the undefeated Patriots? I mean, they were a wild card team and went all the way. But, hey, that's sports, baby. Just win, baby. Oh, so we're going to get into a little Star Wars talk. I mean, I consider myself a bit of a nerd. Not completely. Like, I don't know. If you're going to ask me about Star Wars, I know, like, the basic level, maybe a little bit intermediate, but I don't know anything beyond. Like, I didn't get into the comics. I didn't get into the novels. I didn't get into all that stuff that came out after the original 3 movies and then the prequels. I just enjoyed the movies, enjoyed the characters. I never really, dove in to the whole backstories of different characters and how they branch off and all that. It just wasn't me. But I mean, I was excited for this newer series that came out starting in 2015. The prequels, I mean, they were what they were. I saw all 3 of them in the theater, and the first 2, The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, it was like, God, okay. Especially after Attack of the Clones, it was like, God, okay. Revenge of the Sith, I thought, was the best one out of those original 3. I enjoyed it. I kind of got weirded out when Darth Vader did the whole Frankenstein stand up yelling no. That was a little weird because my man is not supposed to show emotion anymore. He's supposed to be dead inside, but whatever. Um, so yeah, Revenge of the Sith of those prequels, I thought was the best. And honestly, I didn't think we were gonna get any Star Wars movies after from that point on. I know Cartoon Network did a bunch of like the animated and computer animated stuff, and again, I never got into that. I think I watched a few of those like 15-minute episodes that they would have on from time to time, like the Samurai Jack kind of animated stuff, and it was interesting. But I don't know. It just didn't catch me. It just didn't keep me to wanna see or hear these stories or figure out what was going on. You can hate me for that. That's fine. That's whatever. I'm just a novice, nerd when I guess it comes at. But when it comes to this newer stuff, man. So, there's that age group that grew up with the original three, and there's that period where you had that group of kids that grew up. They weren't there when those movies directly came out, but they still grew up with those movies because they were either on TV at different times or VHS kids. VHS, yeah, at VHS, and so it was just this aura of those movies, even though you didn't see them in theaters. Then of course the toys and everything that you had through there. And I think you've had like that generation that went to the theaters and grew up, and the ones that caught it after, and then those are the ones that basically went on to direct and write all those newer movies that came out from 2015. And there was a simple formula that you could have kept with these last three movies, and for some reason it seemed like that first one that came out in 2015 was trying to keep pace with that, was trying to stay on that level where you have that mysterious Rey who's on a desert planet, trying to figure out who she is, only has specific memories, and is suddenly caught up in this new galactic war, which was reminiscent of Luke from the first movies. And that movie left setups of who could Rey's parents be. Is it Luke? Is it somebody else? Is it some other Jedi or so and so? Spoilers. I mean, I was okay with them killing Han Solo off because Harrison Ford was ready to be done with that character. Even back, in Empire Strikes Back, he was ready to be done with that character. But I get what he's saying. Like, they should have had that moment where the original three, Leia, Luke, and Solo, had their meeting or had their time on like the Millennium Falcon or wherever before one of them was taken. And I get that, and I agree with that. But at the same time, I was fine with him being killed off. So you have that set up. You have who's Rey, why was Luke on this planet, basically as a hermit on some island, and who's Snoke, who's this guy that looks like he's falling apart on the throne, also who are the Knights of Ren? There, you remember who's was it Phantasmo, whatever that the lady from Game of Thrones who was in that metallic stormtroopers outfit. I mean, they had set up so many cool things for that second movie, The Last Jedi, to just completely crap on everything, to where you had an emo Luke who his father was the evilest of the evils of the Sith, and yet Luke didn't want to kill him. He saw the good in him and wanted him to bring him back. But then in this movie, he senses his nephew possibly going to the dark side, and instead of sensing the good in him and trying to bring him and sway him away, he just decides, I'm just going to murder the kid. Like, for some, just completely crapping on anything that Luke was about from the first from the first series. So you had that. Then um, you had a Solo kid telling Ray that his parents were no or her parents were nobody. They were just basically, random ass people that got they got lost in the fold of things, and she actually is nobody and doesn't need to be anybody and just needs to disappear basically or whatever, which was so stupid. Um, then I mean the Knights of Ren were just basically not used. Then you have Snoke. You're building this character up as far as who Snoke is, why he is, where he comes from, what is he about, is he connected with somebody? And then you just off him for no damn reason, no explanation. Just grumpy, sour, emo Darth Vader was in a bad mood and just decided to kill Snoke with no explanation as to why. And then of course you have the space battle, which again made no sense. I mean, you're chasing spaceships through space. The thought, if you're the trailing spaceships, are, hey, why don't we have a cruiser light speed ahead of them and turn around and just take them out? But for some reason, that's not going to happen. Then, of course, you have the lasers arching in space. Then you also have that one chick that decided to go light speed at the entire fleet and destroy it, which, I mean, you basically, why do you need to have space battles anymore anyways? Just take a ship, either set it to jump at light speed at a certain time, aim it to ships, and just let it blow all of them up. 'Cause that's all you need to do now. I mean, no, don't need to worry about going laser to laser on them. Just light speed up a ship and just run it right through them, because apparently that's all you need to do in the new Star Wars universe. So you had that. Then you had just emo. I mean, everything that Luke was built into was basically just, screw it. You know, you had that whole time. You had that, what was that, a year or two in between after Ray shows up on the planet and goes to hand his lightsaber back to him, and they started off with him taking it and going, and just throwing it over his shoulder and just not giving a damn. I mean, just made him a giant cornball wuss. And it's one of those things. His name Rain Johnson, whatever his name was. I mean, if you want to do a movie like that, then that's cool. Do it, but do it with your own trilogy. Don't do it in the middle of one where you've already had one of the movies set up your storyline that should carry over to the second one, and then just completely go, no, screw everything that you guys just did. I'm doing my own thing in here. Because, I mean, that basically killed that entire series. I didn't even go to see it. Like, I left Rise of Sky, or The Last Jedi, me and my buddy going, what the was that? Like, that, what the hell? It just did not do anything for going to the casino, just randomly jumping out the ship and going to the casino and then flying back. I mean, Benicio del Toro was wasted in that movie. I mean, a stuttering asshole who is playing both sides, and then just, I don't even know if he dies. He just disappears at the end of it. And then, was it Phantasmo, whatever her name is, just disappearing in the ship. And what a waste of some characters you had in that series. And he just completely defecated on them and threw them out. He was the downfall of that whole thing. If anybody wants to blame anybody, blame Rain Johnson, whatever the hell his name was. Again, if he wanted to do his own series of how he viewed Star Wars, he should have passed on doing The Last Jedi and said, I have my own series I want to do, let me do it, and then waited and done his. But, man, and then The Rise of Skywalker was just so dumb. You can't be a Palpatine kid and then at the end decide you're a Skywalker. That's not how it works. I mean, biologically, you're a Palpatine. You can't just wake up one day and decide you're a Skywalker. See how that works? I mean, it just doesn't work, man. And then, I mean, you had Han Solo, Harrison Ford come back as a Force ghost, and I don't understand if he was projecting himself or if Ben Solo was projecting him. Which, if he was projecting him, why would he be scared of his own Force ghost father when Luke did that to him in the previous movie and made him look like a dumbass? You think it would have been, well, I know that you're fake. It's not that. I mean, what you're saying means nothing to. So I don't understand what happened there. But whatever, it's done. So much could have been happened. But then we rolled on to the series on the Disney Plus, which of course Mandalorian has been just a staple of what you can do with Star Wars series. It's been great. I know a lot of people hated or wasn't big fans of. I think it was the third season that was just recently out. I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was as good as the first two, but it didn't bother me. Like, you went from that, then you went to the Boba Fett series, and Jesus, I mean, it's sad when your highest rated episodes are when you brought the Mandalorian back in and was basically just the Mandalorian for 2 episodes or however long it was, and that was your best episodes. Again, they wasted Boba Fett. I mean, just completely wasted that character. And then you had, there might have been a next series after that. I don't recall. I mean, the only ones that I've really watched are the Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi. I haven't seen any of the other ones. I haven't really cared to. They haven't drawn my interest. And the Obi-Wan, I have so many problems with that because we were led to believe that after Episode 3, The Revenge of the Sith, and in the New Hope, that Obi-Wan had just been living in the desert for, I guess it was 18 years. I think that's how old Luke was supposed to be in the first movie, and was just a hermit hanging out in the desert. Now, of course, they did the animated series where he, went off, and I guess, or maybe in the comics or whatever, and did a few things and ended up killing Darth Maul and whatever. I mean, but he was kind of off doing his own thing. He wasn't interacting with a lot of people, and I'm okay with that. That's whatever. But then you had that series come out, and again, you start off New Hope with Princess Leia handing the floppy disk to R2-D2, basically begging Obi-Wan Kenobi to help her, saying, "You helped my father before, please can you help me now?" And basically, from what you get from that, she had never met him before. She has no knowledge of him. The only knowledge that she has of him is through her father. Otherwise, she does not know if he even is still alive. And that's how New Hope is set up. But yet, in that Obi-Wan series, they have my man leave the desert because Princess Leia is kidnapped as a kid, and he has to go save Leia, and then they go on an adventure to the point that Leia begins to think that Obi-Wan could be her father. And then by the end of the series, we're supposed to just, I guess, go with, well, maybe just Leia forgets who he is. Maybe just, doing princess stuff or doing whatever stuff. She just completely, maybe she saw enough aliens in her life or whatever that she just forgot who Obi-Wan was by New Hope. Because you think if she would have gone, after being kidnapped, for Christ's sake, after being kidnapped and saved by him and thinking he was her father, that when she sent that little floppy disk to R2, that it would have been, "Hey, Obi, what's up? Remember when I thought you were my father and you saved me from those, I think it was Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, when they kidnapped me? Remember that? Yeah, I need your help again." You think, I mean, that's, again, I don't know what they were thinking in this Obi-Wan series. They could have had Obi-Wan put a little, well, I guess if Leia is also possibly a Jedi, or she could, maybe a mind trick wouldn't work on her. I don't know. But they could have done something to where she really never saw him or never really interacted with him, whatever, and kept that line linear. Instead, it just completely, it was like one of the 1985s and then the bad 1985. I don't understand. You had everything written out for you and already done, and for some reason you screwed it up again because, again, I think you have that time period of people that grew up with the movies and with the VHS that they came up with their own stories, and those are the ones that are now directing and writing all those things. And instead of just following what's already there, their ego gets involved and they go, "Oh no, I'm going to write my own stuff. I'm going to do my own thing because I know what I'm talking about." And then they just completely crap on everything and don't and just instead of going from A to B, they go A T F Y Z K K and just out of it, and it just makes no sense. And Ahsoka, I saw that series. I thought that was pretty decent until they got in the whale's mouth and Jonah tripped Lightspeed across the Jonah and the whale across to another universe, which, what the hell? I don't know. I know people love Dave Filoni, but my man, what is with the space whales, dude? That is just so unnecessary. So unnecessary, man. Space whales taking you to another universe where there's zombie stormtroopers and where Jedi Jesus somehow is living on an off-world planet with, I don't even know what kind of creatures they were. Snail, turtle creatures? I don't know. Little gnomes, little nomads, whatever the hell they were. That series got weird at the end. I was kind of digging it at first, and then it got weird. And I know the blue dude at the end, and I can't remember his name, Thrawn, whatever his name is. People were all excited about him being in there, and he was cool. But I mean, space whales, dude. I mean, that's where you're losing me. I don't know if that's the younger kids that really got into that, but that's just, you're entering like the never-ending story universe when you go with that with space whales. I mean, you might as well jump on a white furry dog and just fly through space. And then of course you had I can't even remember the name of that series, the most recent one that just everybody crapped on because they thought it was just so bad, and in the way it was treated with space witches and just how they handled the Jedi and how they. I mean, I can't say anything on it. I didn't see it, but all the reviews of everything that I saw on it was just it was not a good series, and it did not get picked up for a second season. So that is what it is. I mean, that can tell you how Disney felt about it if they didn't want to put any more money into it. I mean, I can't. Let's try to. I honestly can't remember what that Star Wars Disney Plus series was. Let's look it up. Sorry, that's how much.